Childbirth is a miracle. It's always an exciting new beginning for a family. An arrival of a baby changes a family forever. However, pregnancies and childbirth isn't without its strange quirks and complications. Stories about strange happenings are constantly on the news when it comes to childbirth. This is a story of one Texan woman who has quite the story to tell about her experience with childbirth. It was absolutely shocking. Before we move on, remember to like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. We churn out excitement content regularly, and pressing the bell icon would ensure that you never miss out on any important updates. With that out of the way, let's talk about Laura Perkins. Laura Perkins was an average Texan newlywed. She, along with her husband David, has been trying to have a baby for a long time to no avail. They tried for years, but Laura couldn't get pregnant. It was truly demoralizing for the new family as they wanted a big family, and fertility was being quite the obstacle. Stressed out and running out of options, the husband and wife duo booked a vacation to Nicaragua to take their minds off things and possibly consider their next step. During their vacation, they met a priest, with whom Lauren discussed her issue with conceiving a child. The man of God replied that someone up there might have big plans for her. Something big, most likely. Laura waved off the priest's remarks as him simply giving her hope and telling her what she wants to hear. But, unbeknownst to her, his words would prove true. Eventually, the couple returned from their vacation and life was returning to normal. Lauren had mostly forgotten about her encounter with the priest. When they returned, their anxieties about childbirth returned as well. By this point, the couple were ready to try more unconventional methods of conceiving children. It was David who suggested the idea of having children through more artificial methods. The idea did not install any sense of hope in Lauren, however, who had become depressed. She considered herself barren and believed that she could never bear any children. Nevertheless, the couple gave it one more chance to make their dreams of having beautiful children come true. Lauren agreed to undergo the process, albeit reluctantly. After the procedure, the family visited a doctor for a checkup. The nurses were surprised at the HCG levels of Lauren and told her that there was a strong possibility she would be having multiple babies. Twins, maybe even triplets. Lauren and David were ecstatic to hear the news. After years of trying to have children and failing, it seemed that their dream of having a beautiful family wasn't far off. It was too good to be true. When it was time for the ultrasound, the family eagerly underwent the procedure with high hopes. When the doctor examined the screen, which showed Lauren's womb, he couldn't believe his eyes. It was shocking to say the least. He looked and looked again, hoping to piece together what he was seeing because it was nigh unbelievable. The doctor went over to Laura and told her that he counted 5 babies in her womb. Laura couldn't believe it. It all seemed impossible. She thought she was barren a few months ago, and now she was being told that there are 5 babies in her womb. This was staggering. That wasn't all, however, as the doctor studied the screen further and revealed that there was a 6th baby there as well. The couple was shocked, to say the least. It seemed that their dream was coming true and then some. There was just one major problem, however. Birth of sextuplets are often complicated, and there's a risk of things going wrong. The procedure's difficult on the doctors and taxing on the mothers. At this point, the doctors presented Laura and David a choice, a very difficult choice. They could either keep all the babies and face the risks of the birthing of 6 babies, or they could eliminate and reduce the number of children as to mitigate the risk significantly. There was a low chance of the 6 babies all surviving, yet each baby was near and dear to Laura and David. This choice was a conundrum. After pondering and discussing it with each other, the pair made their choice. They decided to go with the risk and give all 6 babies a chance at life. The doctors accepted their decision and promised the couple that they would do everything in their power to deliver each baby safely. They promised it all, but the risk remained regardless. On the morning of April 23rd in 2012, Lauren's water broke. It was her 30th week of pregnancy, and at this stage, the babies born were considered premature. This was a big risk as to their survival and chance at living. The couple rushed to the hospital and prepared for the most difficult time of their lives. Lauren was rushed to the hospital, wincing in pain. Doctors and nurses surrounded her and delivery procedure began. Lauren was nervous but excited to meet her babies all at the same time. The doctors were under immense pressure to safely deliver each baby, and Lauren held out hope that all of them would survive. After a 4-minute delivery of blood, sweat, and tears, all 6 babies were delivered safely and breathing. Each baby was delivered one by one, and Lauren was from this day forth a proud mom of 6 beautiful children. The babies were premature, but all of them weighed between 1 to 2 pounds. They were named Allison, Benjamin, Caroline, Leah, Andrew, and Levi. And although they were too weak to be taken home after birth, the hospital took the utmost care of them in their infant care units. Their parents, Lauren and David, could not be happier. The worst had passed, and now the hospital staff had to do their best with the caretaking of the babies and ensure their safety and survival. The weekends after birth are the most important and pivotal times in the life of premature babies, and the hospital staff did their best. There were some risk of other complications, such as congenital disease and even life-threatening issues, but thankfully, due to the expertise of the hospital, each of the 6 babies recovered and got healthier. After the initial weeks passed with improvements in the baby's health, the family was able to hold their newborn and embrace him for the first time. 5 of the babies were allowed to go home with the family after 4 months. Leah was the smallest and the weakest, and as such required more tender love and care before she could be discharged from the hospital. Inside the womb, she had to struggle for space and the weight of her siblings pressed down on her even then. There were concerns that her brain was not fully developed. This time was indeed quite hard for the family, but still, they held out hope for Leah's recovery. Love and support came from all corners of the world as their incredible story began circulating on the internet and the news sites. It seemed that despite all, the words of the Nicaraguan priest rang true. Someone did indeed have big plans for the Perkins family, and those big plans came in the form of 6 beautiful babies. The story of Lauren and David Perkins is inspirational to many. It is a tale of hope for all the families that have tried and failed to have children. It's a lesson in patience and faith. Although the Perkins family had to go through hard times and at some points they even began to lose hope, they persevered. Now, they're living happily and the children are loved and cherished by their parents. This story could not have had a happier ending.